Good eve- Good evening. This is my Assure model lesson plan to go along with the copyright lesson. All right, so A, analyze the learner. So this lesson is for a fifth grade class, ages 10 to 12. There are 17 students in the class, 9 girls and 8 boys. 8 out of my 17 students are identified special education students and receive services in math and reading. I do have a high population of special ed students that read way below grade level. Some of them read as low as a C, all the way up until like an L, M. Maybe the highest one is a P or a Q. 4 of my students are reading above grade level, and 4 students read on grade level. I do have one student who struggles and is below grade level but is not identified. And these kids tend to work better when it's hands on. So usually when I do a lesson that I need to present information to them, I try to use like Nearpod or Lumio just so they can do activities along the way as I am presenting the information to them. So it's not just me looking at a slide and just reading the slide to them and hoping that they ingest all that information. S, state standards and objectives. The TEKS are 5.13F differentiates between paraphrasing and plagiarism when using source materials. 5.13G, develop a bibliography. I included an ISTE standard, and the one I included was 1.2.C. Students demonstrate an understanding of and respect for the rights and obligation of using and sharing intellectual property, which is kind of what we're focusing on with my copyright lesson. Um, the AASL standard that it follows is 6B1. Learners use valid information and reasoned conclusions to make ethical decisions in the creation of knowledge by ethically using and reproducing others' works. So our learning intention for the lesson is students will be able to describe and discuss copyright, public domain, plagiarism, and fair use. I would consider this kind of like an introductory lesson that I would use before going into the TEK 13F, which is to differentiate between paraphrasing and plagiarism. So we would learn about a little bit more about plagiarism and then how to paraphrase. And so then we could go into citing our sources. S, select strategies and resources. So this lesson was very much teacher centered. The teacher will teach copyright lesson as a lecture style lesson by presenting the topic to the students. I would also include for student centered strategies an anticipation guide, which I included in the the copyright lesson, and then we would do a reflection activity at the end where I would have them tell me about what they learned and how well they think they learned it. Our resources would be anticipation guide. Um, I didn't put this lesson into Lumio, but I would eventually put it in so that I could include activities along the way. So it's not just presenting tons of information to them, and then also the reflection activity at the end. U utilizes resources. So first, preview materials. So selecting the information that's relative to the presentation, so that then I could prepare the materials, so I could create the presentation. Then I would prepare the environment. I would need to make sure that the students' devices are charged. Our school is 1-to-1, and so that's why I like to do Nearpod and Lumio a lot, just because they can have their device in front of them, and they're not just following along staring at a screen. And then make sure that my teacher computer is connected to the whiteboard. So then 4, prepare the learners, introduce the lesson, the learning objectives, and introduce pertinent vocabulary to them. And then provide the learning experience, which is to provide the copyright lesson presentation. R, require learner participation. Students will begin with an anticipation guide. Students will then be required to participate throughout the Lumio presentation. Students will then participate in Think, Pair, Shares, and then they'll complete their self-reflection exit ticket. And then here is the rubric for the copyright lesson for the 5th grade class. I would like for them to be able to define the 4 words: copyright, plagiarism, fair use, and public domain. To get a 5, they would have to give a complete definition and at least 2 examples to support whether is this copyright, what copyright might, what materials are included or what materials are not included for copyright. To receive 3 points, they would be able to give a definition, maybe not so complete, and then also give 1 example to support the meaning. And then to receive a 1, students can maybe just give a definition or give an example, and then 0 points, they can't give me any information about the topic. And so I did that for all 4 of those words. And then at the very end, there's the thing that I really enjoy doing with my class. And it's just like for self-reflection, I ask them, are you a 4, 3, 2, 1? And so when they tell me they're a 4, they understand and they could teach it to someone. No struggles. A 3 is I'm getting there. I understand, but I'm not quite ready to teach someone. And then a 2 is I kind of understand, but I still need help. And then a 1 is I don't understand. Can you please help me, whether it's in a small group? And usually my kids are pretty honest in their responses. If they don't understand and they don't think that they can do something, they'll tell me they're a 1. So as long as they're honest and they can tell me what they are, they get all 5 points, and then no reflection, 0 points. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.